On December 23, 2021, the Sony A7IV became available for public purchase in the United States. I picked up my A7IV on that day at my local camera shop, and I can honestly say that since that day I've never been more impressed with the combined range, performance, and value of any camera. It has been outstanding for capturing immersive portraits, seemingly unfazed by foreground distractions, and the IAF has been nothing short of stellar. The numerous improvements of this camera instantly made the A7IV the perfect time-lapse machine, especially the new divider frames and the upgraded EVF, which makes critical manual focus detail much easier. The animal and bird subject detection has been rock solid and impressively accurate, not just with the 600 f4G master lens, but also the 200 to 600G provides consistent peak performance. But for critical wildlife, the A1 is still untouchable. For weddings and events, the autofocus accuracy and responsiveness of the A7IV makes it seem effortless to track and isolate subjects, and the resolution hits that perfect sweet spot for professional image output. So when I saw that the new version 1.01 firmware improves the accuracy of the IAF feature, I was very interested to see exactly what this improved. I want to reiterate that the IAF feature is specifically a feature that you assign to a button and have to press to use. It's different and separate from the face-eye priority. I've demonstrated this in a couple of videos. As it specifically says the IAF feature, I wanted to do a quick test before I did the update. So I set up my camera on a tripod in a shaded area outside on my deck, and I used the Sony Bluetooth remote to engage the IAF feature and took a series of pictures at close range with the aperture wide open at f1.4 using the Sigma 35mm f1.4 DGDN, which has very good reproduction at this close focusing distance. With the original version 1.0 firmware, the IAF selected my right eye and every image was focused perfectly. While this type of picture may not hold any real value, other than this very basic demonstration, the camera did perform flawlessly as expected. A few hours later, after getting around to completing the update, which itself took about half an hour to complete, I put the camera back on the same tripod, still in the same spot, and repeated the same test. This time with the version 1.01 firmware, the IAF feature selected my left eye, and while every shot does seem to be perfectly acceptable, I'm not sure it is as accurately focused on the eye, but the conditions were brighter, and as a result, I wasn't able to keep my eyes quite as wide open as in the previous test, so there's that. So several hours later, with the weather becoming a complete mess, I decided to just handhold the camera in front of my face and use the standard face-eye priority for a series of shots, just half pressing the shutter to focus. And while it does jump back and forth between eyes, they all look perfectly in focus, handheld at 1/200th of a second. So not really seeing any improvement there, I wanted to try some more challenging focusing situations. So I want to demonstrate what it takes to capture what it is that you're seeing on the camera externally and record it and demonstrate things as they happen in real time. So I have to hook the camera up through HDMI to the Atomos Ninja 5, which in itself disables the EVF, disables the rear screen, and everything has to be viewed on the Atomos. So I literally have to control the camera, move the camera with my left hand, and control the camera with my right hand while looking at the Atomos, and I would have to hit record, then control and look at the screen. So the examples are going to be pretty simple, but the points will still get across. So I went out early the next morning to see if I could catch some more lively subjects that move around a bit. So as soon as I get up, just as I'm changing the subject detection, one of my resident blue jays lands right in front of me, and I barely have time to hit the record button on the Atomos and press the shutter release and get one shot using my standard registered zone area, but it is spot on perfect in focus as expected. So more zone area here, just using the half press shutter, and it does look like the zone area priority is jumping around, but at the end, the result is just as good, as it does accurately nail the eye when it matters. Now here with the animal subject detection using the IAF feature, it gets noticeably erratic. But I am underexposed, so I open up my exposure and it seems to do fine with this most basic requirement. Now here I'm using the back button tracking, which uses face-eye priority, and it does work well enough to accurately target the eye of this little Junco. Again, using back button tracking, and the camera indeed performs with expected accuracy. So now I am specifically using the IAF feature, and it seems to pick up this goldfinch's eye quite well, but then inexplicably it jumps to the wing, even though the eye is clearly visible. Here I start out using tracking, but then switch to the IAF feature as it does track and detect the eye very accurately, and I am able to grab a difficult shot. Where most cameras would focus on the beak, the A7IV nails the eye. So you may have noticed that the tracking appears to lag a bit, and the IAF seems to track the eye a little better. This has always been the case with the tracking, as it is a longer command and therefore it takes more time to process the feedback overlay. However, it is still excellent. So is this better? I can honestly say that I don't see any improvement in the accuracy of the IAF feature. I can say that the sensitivity of the IAF feature seems to be increased, but I've never seen the IAF just jump from an eye to a wing for seemingly no reason when there's an eye clearly visible, and just as the animal subject detection did the same thing for seemingly no reason. That's how the A7 III used to be in the early days of the animal subject detection, but even that was cleared up and improved. So let me know what your thoughts. Do you think that the IAF has been improved for you? And if you like the video, please give it a like and consider subscribing to my channel. Thanks for watching.